Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's video. So, in today's video, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the marvelous giant Pacific octopus. I'm extremely thrilled to do this video for you guys because the giant Pacific octopus, of course, I've mentioned many times, is by far my favorite octopus out of all the species, and it doesn't help that when I was 3 years old, of that little I Spy book I read and that octopus that I saw, just kind of really encouraged me to research more, and now it has brought me to where I am now and started a legacy of being a marine biologist to study these fellas. So I'm extremely happy to do this video for you guys. So let's just get right into it. Alrighty, here we go, guys. The giant Pacific octopus are known as scientifically as the Enteroctopus daffelini. So, some facts about our giant Pacific octopus here. So, giant Pacific octopuses live in the upper Pacific Ocean from the west coast all the way to the east coast. And so, to be a little more specific, so California, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, Alaska, then all the way across the Aleutians to Russia and Korea. So they are widely distributed all throughout the Pacific Ocean. And their diets consist of crustaceans, mollusks, squid, sharks, and even other octopuses or birds. And now some of you right there at that moment were probably thinking, whoa, sharks and birds? Yes, yeah, they like to eat some sharks and some birds. There is a video that went out a few years ago. I'm going to post this video in the description below. There was an octopus in an aquarium with a dogfish shark, and the octopus decided that, that dogfish shark looks pretty good to eat for dinner. So the octopus decided to take decided to lunge at it and have some food. So he was really being tactical, doing all the octopus stuff it would do, really camouflage into its surrounding, really moving very quietly, but while being agile to really make sure that they don't spook the shark. And then at that right moment, all the arms went around the shark and really strangled it and did not let it loose out of its um, possession and eat it. And they live in an intertidal zone, or known as the tidal range, also found in the bathypelagic zone, in depths up to 5,000 feet or lower. So, in the intertidal zone or the tidal range, that really consists of kind of muddy areas, a lot of rocks everywhere, where it's great places for giant Pacific octopuses to really hide in crevices and hide from predators. And not coral reefs, kelp forests. Those are beautiful places for giant Pacific octopuses to stay. Like, for example, the California kelp forest. It is a phenomenal ecosystem. So many fish and prey that the octopus can feast on. But while there's also quite a bit of predators, so it is a great place for it to really hide and camouflage itself from those predators. And then at night, because they are nocturnal creatures, that's when they'll come out and feast on some prey. And so here's some more interesting facts. So the genus Enteroctopus stands for giant octopuses. And the biggest known giant Pacific octopus was discovered in British Columbia, Canada. And it measured up to 30 feet in length and weighed 600 pounds. That is just absolutely staggering, the length and the weight of this invertebrate. It must have been something to see, a giant Pacific octopus 30 feet in length just across the sandy beach. Like, that's absolutely bonkers, but it would have been something to see, though. The giant Pacific octopuses have a lifespan of 3 to 5 years, so that is a lot better than its fellow relatives, where it's usually about 6 months to a year. That, for example, that's like the common octopus, so the Octopus vulgaris. So those are much better numbers. However, it's still a very short lifespan, 3 to 5 years, but it's better than six months to 1 year. And they have roughly 300 suction cups on each arm, and in total, they have up to 2,400 suction cups. So that is a lot of suction cups that these octopuses have on in total of all their arms. And just one of the giant Pacific octopus's suction cup can hold 35 pounds. And that's just showing how incredibly strong one of the 2,400 suction cups are. So imagine if you were a prey and you have all those suction cups latched onto you. You are not going anywhere for the life of you. No matter how hard you try, you are stuck. I feel really bad for the prey, especially, but it's perfect for the giant Pacific octopus because a lot of the sometimes the prey like sharks that they want to eat, they're very agile creatures, so they need something to really latch onto there so they can bring it into their crown of arms and have some dinner. And finally, the female octopuses lay between 20,000 and 100,000 eggs and will stay to protect him for 6 months. So, out of the 20,000 to 100,000 eggs, unfortunately, only a very bare minimum of them will actually survive, unfortunately, because when these this new generation of octopuses hatch, they flow all the way to the surface, and they really just kind of float around in the current. The current will take them and lead them somewhere, but while they're going in that current, they might lead into huge feast where shrimp are or a bunch of plankton are, and that's when whales will come in and a bunch of other creatures, whales, whale sharks, or other predators like that feast on them. And the poor females, this is with every coleoid, where when it's time to mate, they'll lay their eggs and stay with them for the rest of their lives until, again, that new generation hatches and moves along. And interesting facts continued. So giant Pacific octopuses have bilateral symmetry. So let me show you guys, give you a little demonstration of what bilateral symmetry is. So we have our awesome, beautiful octopus right here. So I want you guys to imagine a line that goes straight from here through the eyes and at the tip of the mantle here. And what you got to do is just basically cut it in half, and you have your forearms here, and the other side, you got your forearms here. Now, if you notice, all arms are equal to the other side. So as you notice, if you look at it straight forward, you're going to have those two arms perfect right here. And if you looked here, they're going to be the same exact thing. So literally what bilateral symmetry means is one side of it is going to be mirrored to the other side. So that's what it means. And that is not unusual for octopuses. That's common throughout all coleoids. They all have that bilateral symmetry. And they have a whopping time of 1/10 of a second to change color. And last but not least, Enteroctopus dophalinis have 2 yearly inshore-offshore migrations in the waters of Japan. These migrations have been associated with reproduction, but not all GPOs travel along the shores of Japan. Scientists also captured a movement pattern of 40 selected giant Pacific octopuses by using sonic trackers along the coast of south central Alaska. And I have some more information here on my notes. So dophalinis migrate inshore for optimal water temperatures in early summer and early winter. And in late summer and late winter, they migrate offshore when the water temperature is too hot or too cold inshore. And they travel offshore to migrate into deeper water. In summer wait a second, I messed it up. My apologies. They travel offshore to migrate into deeper water in summer to mate. There we go. And then in autumn and winter, individuals migrate back inshore where eggs are then spawned. So that is their migration mating process. So it's really fascinating. And finally, on our last slide, and this one is by far the most exciting, and I'm extremely to share this with you guys. So before 2017, we had only one enter octopus species, which is our giant Pacific octopus. And then in 2017, scientists discovered a new species of the genus Enteroctopus, and that is called the frilled giant Pacific octopus. So before I get into anything else, let me share with you some notes that I have here of this magnificent creature. So the frilled giant Pacific octopus, of course, a newly discovered species of the genus Enteroctopus, was discovered in the waters of Prince William Sound, Alaska. And so these octopuses extends from southeast Alaska to the Bering Sea. So it's all in a relatively um, decently closed area. And the frilled GPO has been, in theory, a part of the Interoctopus for several years. But now, in 2017, scientists scientifically confirmed that there is a new or another species of giant Pacific octopus, which is extremely exciting. And how they discovered this is by using genetics. So, what scientists did to really get good results is they actually use swabbing. So, what scientists usually do when they swab the octopuses is they'll use arms to swab, but they changed a new method. Instead of doing that because they don't want to harm the animal, they swab the skin, and so that was a new method that they used, and it did a very good job and got their results very well. And so the frilled giant Pacific octopus does share a lot of distinctive traits with its sister, the giant Pacific octopus. And these traits consist of relative head size, webbing extent, and white spots on the dorsal mantle, and dark eye bars. And if you're not sure what those dark eye bars, these dark eye bars are right here. Just right there. And then, last but not least, um, the frilled octopuses is still not fully described and named yet. So, meaning they still don't have their scientific name yet, and they're basically still under research, and their scientists are still trying to learn more about these thrilling animals. And what I wanted to share with you guys is some visual um, distinctive traits between the two to help you identify which one is which. So these arrows I have here, these are showing three papillae that are sticking out at the bottom of the eye. And now this is a great visual and distinctive trait to tell that this is a frilled giant Pacific octopus. Because when we look over to the GPO here, they don't have that. It's very smoothened out here. I mean, they have a little there, but not very horn-like over here. And then on the frilled giant Pacific octopus, they have these antler-like papillae that is very distinctive and rarely seen on the giant Pacific octopus, and not many other octopus species have these, but besides the GPOs. And so the frilled has a very antler-like, and it's rounded at the top. And then once we look over to the GPO, they're more like horns, exactly like horns. And then right here, this is very, very noticeable. This very fleshy frill that runs along the lateral part of the mantle. That hence is where it gets its name, the frilled giant Pacific octopus. So that fleshy frill is where it gets its name. Then you look over to the giant Pacific octopus, and you don't notice that. You notice a lot of fleshy frills all along the mantle, but not that big noticeable one. And last but not least, if you guys can tell where my mouse is, right here, right next to the third arrow, there is a white spot right there. So real giant Pacific octopuses, I'll use my octopus here, they have two white spots right here. So here and here. That's how you know that's a frilled giant Pacific octopus from looking at it head on. And the giant Pacific octopus just has one of those white spots right below the eyes. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the distinctiveness between the frilled giant Pacific octopus and the giant Pacific octopus, and the similarities between the two of these Goliaths of octopuses. And that's to wrap it up right there, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video today, because this one I really enjoyed. It was absolutely enjoyable to put this one together, because like what I said, this is, in many of my videos, giant Pacific octopuses are by far my favorite ones out of all of them, because they started my legacy of where I am now. So I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys are new peeps coming to the channel. If you guys really enjoy what I'm making, if you're learning anything, just put down in the comments like any questions or anything like that. And have a great day, you guys.